ever just have one of those days, where it feels like everything's just a little too much?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, you just need to hit the pause button on everything.
Totally. And lately, I've been hearing a lot about this thing called ASMR. People say it's like the ultimate way to unwind.
ASMR, yeah, it's definitely become pretty popular. It's actually something you might have already experienced without realizing it. Like, imagine, like, listening to the rain outside, that soft patter.
Okay, yeah.
Or even just someone tapping their fingers lightly on, like, wood or something. And all of a sudden, you feel this, like, tingly, relaxing sensation that kind of starts in your head and moves down.
Oh, I think I get it.
Yeah, that's ASMR.
So it's like a physical feeling.
Exactly. And it can be super relaxing.
It's wild that something so simple can have such a big effect. But where did this whole ASMR thing even come from?
Well, believe it or not, it kind of started with those early YouTube videos back when YouTube was still kind of new. Some people started uploading videos of themselves, like whispering or tapping or making these gentle crinkling sounds.
Really? Just like that?
Yep, just simple stuff like that. And for some reason, people found it super soothing.
So at that point, it wasn't even called ASMR yet?
Nope. People were enjoying it, but they didn't really have a name for it yet.
So how did it get the name ASMR?
So back in 2010, someone decided to call it ASMR, which stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Sounds kind of complicated, but it basically describes that tingly feeling you get.
Okay, so it's like they finally put a name to this feeling people were already having.
Yeah, exactly, and as soon as that name was out there, it kind of took off. People finally had a way to describe it and connect with others who felt the same way.
So it's like a whole community was born. That's so cool. And now, ASMR is everywhere, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's gone way beyond those early YouTube videos. We're talking millions of videos on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, even Instagram.
Wow. So what exactly is it about ASMR that people find so appealing? Why is it so popular?
I think a big part of it is that it's just incredibly relaxing, Like, we live in such a hectic world, our brains are constantly going.
Oh, tell me about it.
And ASMR just kind of gives your brain permission to just chill out for a bit.
It's like a mental vacation.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use it to help them fall asleep. Those gentle sounds and whispers can really help to quiet those racing thoughts.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what I find really surprising is that some people actually use ASMR to help them focus.
Yeah, I know, right? It seems counterintuitive. But for some people, it's like having white noise in the background. It kind of blocks out distractions and helps them concentrate.
So it's almost like finding that flow state where
Right.
you're just completely in the zone.
Exactly. It creates that perfect atmosphere for focus.
Interesting. And I've also heard people talk about ASMR as being really comforting, like it makes them feel less alone.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that too. It's like having someone there with you, even if it's just through a screen.
Especially these days when so many people are feeling isolated.
Exactly. And it's not just about feeling connected to the person in the video. It's also about connecting with yourself and your own senses.
That's a great point. Like ASMR helps you tune into those little sensory details you might normally miss.
Right. And it helps you appreciate the simple things, like the sound of crinkling paper or the gentle tapping of fingernails, stuff we usually just tune out.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing. But is there any scientific evidence to back this up?
Yeah.
Like, why do these sounds have such a powerful effect?
There actually is. The research is still kind of new, but scientists are starting to figure out how ASMR works in the brain.
Really? So there's an actual physiological reason for this?
Yep. Some studies have shown that ASMR can activate parts of the brain that are associated with pleasure and relaxation.
Makes sense. It's like our brains are hardwired to respond to these certain triggers.
Exactly. And it might even be linked to the release of oxytocin, which is that hormone that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy.
Oh, wow. The love hormone.
That's the one. So it's kind of like a double whammy of sensory stimulation and emotional connection.
Incredible. But I've also heard that not everyone experiences ASMR.
Yeah, that's true. Some people get those super intense tingles, while others just feel kind of relaxed. And then there are some people who don't really feel anything at all.
So like with everything, it affects everyone differently.
Right. It's all about individual differences in how our brains are wired. But for those who do experience it, it can be a really powerful tool.
It's almost like ASMR has its own language of relaxation.
Yeah, you could say that. And the cool thing is, ASMR is not just some fad that's going to disappear. I think it's really here to stay.
I agree. It feels like it's evolving too. It's not just whispering anymore.
Oh yeah, it's become way more diverse. Like you have people who specialize in specific sounds, like tapping or scratching, even crinkling.
I've even seen videos where they role play like they're giving you a haircut or something.
Right, or taking you on a guided meditation. It's crazy how creative people are getting with it.
And the visuals are getting really cool too. Some of those close-ups are mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's almost like a whole art form is developing around ASMR. And I think that's one reason why it's so popular. It keeps things fresh and exciting.
It's not just about watching a video, it's like a whole experience.
Exactly. And I think that community aspect is important too. Like people who are into ASMR, they really connect with each other.
It's like they've found this shared language of relaxation and tingles.
Yeah, and it shows you that even in this digital world, people still crave that sense of connection.
It's like a reminder that we're not alone in wanting to unwind and de-stress. You know, all this talk about ASMR is making me think about all the sounds we hear every day but don't really notice.
That's an interesting point. We're so bombarded with noise all the time that we kind of tune it all out.
Right. Like, when was the last time you really stopped to listen to the hum of your refrigerator?
Or the ticking of a clock. Or even just like the wind in the trees.
Those are the kinds of sounds that can actually be really calming if you pay attention to them.
Exactly. And I think that's a big part of what ASMR is all about. It's like training yourself to be more aware of the sounds around you.
Like being more mindful.
Yeah, exactly. Mindful of your senses.
And maybe if we all did that a little more, we'd feel a lot more relaxed and centered.
I think so too. It's amazing how much of a difference those simple things can make.
So it's not just about finding those specific ASMR triggers. It's about appreciating the whole soundscape of your life.
I love that. Yeah, it's like you're opening yourself up to a whole new world of sensory experiences.
It's like we've always had this amazing concert going on around us, but we've just never really stopped to listen.
That's such a great way to put it. And you know, ASMR, it's kind of helped us like rediscover that concert hall in a way, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's given us this backstage pass to the symphony of everyday life.
And it shows you that even the smallest things, like the crinkle of a bag or a whisper, can be just as beautiful and powerful as any big musical performance.
So I guess what we're learning is ASMR isn't just about those tingly videos, it's really about something much bigger.
Oh, for sure. It's like it's tapped into this really basic human need, that need to relax, to connect, and to explore our senses.
And it's reminded us that finding peace and well-being doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest things are the most powerful.
Like just taking a moment to really listen to the world around you.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into ASMR, we want to encourage all of you to keep exploring this world, keep discovering what works for you.
And remember, even if you don't get those crazy tingles, you can still find a lot of peace and relaxation in the sounds all around you.
So pay attention to those everyday sounds. The hum of your house, the wind in the trees, the voices of your loved ones.
And who knows, you might just discover your own little piece of ASMR magic.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep those ears open and stay curious.